lot of this information you've heard or seen before, so I'll be brief through those portions. First is the calendar that we've all come to know and love. We've talked about the community input meetings that the district held. As was been advertised, there's been a survey on the district's website. Again, this is just one of the inputs that the district has provided for folks to provide their input.
My name is Carlos Perez. I sent you the letter. The maps are not drawn by lawyers or demographers or board members, are drawn by the community. So the professionals in this area need to take a back seat, obviously, to let the community examine what is most important to them. Please consider that the map that you are drawing is something for the future. And when you look at the map, consider that if some of you live close together, that's not a consideration that should be used. And I only say that because some of the school districts that I've gotten into in these cases have looked at incumbency as an initial criteria. And I hope that you will not consider it at all.
What we have done is that we have followed the best practices of the industry standards, but we have also followed AB 849, which is the Fair Maps Act, and a new redistricting law that just passed in October of 2019. And so that is the reason why incumbency was the last and not a factor in the maps that we produced. For map 4, we've heard that there's a lot of community support. We have followed the best practices industry standards and the new law. We have one of the lowest variances of the maps that are here. So we really urge the board to support map 4, but also I think, like we've heard, to go to the community as well and explain more of this process to them.
It is not to divide the schools, it's basically to make sure that the board themselves, I think, can best represent a quadrant that they live in and take their children to and are familiar with and understand what needs that community has. It gives somebody like me a chance to dream. Maybe I want to become a board member and represent those children and that community.
I don't believe this is a fair and equal representation at all. We should have trustee maps overlapping Hacienda Heights and La Puente, such as one board member serves 2 trustee maps. This way, each trustee map will not only have one board member serve its own self-interest.
Map 1 maybe could be workable. Maps 2 and 3 cause me concern because I don't think that they adequately reflect the ethos of the criteria that should be used. Community of interest, I think, is bifurcated there in ways that is not healthy and is not in alignment with the criteria. Likewise, when I look at scenario 3, I have a similar concern for that area 3, in the sense the trustee area 3 that kind of spans this long breadth across. The communities of interest are not adequately represented, and when I look at that, digging into Cedar Lane Middle School and separated from Wilson High School, that also seems to artificially break up a community of interest. For all of these reasons, again, I really am in favor of map 4, but I'm also happy to hear that there's a chance to make some alterations, because I think there's other things that may be done that can also appease some community concerns.
The quadrant is the quadrant, but the trustee map should kind of cross a little, which 1, 2, 3 kind of provides that in different ways. But I also heard other people's concern about probably 2 and 3. But 1 also provides that crossover a little bit. To me, that would create better collaboration, and you're not just care about your own district, you also care about who you represent.
Part of why I'm here is to apologize for having created number 7. No, I had not realized that the population was different than what I had assumed. And looking at number 4, granted, it could go a little bit more south to pick up a little bit more of Valinda, but to the east, it actually covers Valinda. I would like to throw my vote for number 4 as being the most equitable.
And I want to emphasize that, right? Although it appeared no there, keep in mind we were the group that brought up Valinda, right? We were the group that talked about the importance of Valinda being there. So it's nice to hear, right, how some of our language is then used and then co-opted to maybe be twisted against number 4. I want you just to think about that. Valinda is definitely included, right, in that map. The community meetings, though, right, those detailed notes that were provided by by the PR firm, right, show very clearly that in all of those, number 4 is overwhelmingly supported. Number 3 as a map is suspect, right? It's suspect because it's the only one that directly focuses on incumbency. And the other ones, of course, were then 5 and 6 that were created that also take that in consideration. We're watching. It's all very clear what's been transparent and what hasn't been transparent. And by and large, it's been transparent with the exception, of course, of that skewed vote and whatever else has led to it.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Larry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Waiver consent calendar.
Thank you, Member Burr. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Thank you, Member Navo.
The motion passes.
Step 4, scenario 4, as our map.
Okay. Is there a second to Mr. Del Torre's motion?
A second.
I'm not in favor of scenario 4. 1 is really just a simple thing of Workman High School not being in the Valinda seat. Valinda, use that in quote, the Valinda district is concerning, and that should have been in there. Whatever map we end up adopting should have Workman High School in the Valinda seat. And then, I know we've mentioned it in the past, this does split the community of Valinda in half, and that's just something I can't support. There are almost 25,000 residents that we have to consider. And yes, they may not have been here and been vocal, but we have to look out what's best for those 25,000 people in the Valinda community. And to me, electing someone from the Valinda community and being able to be whole in the Valinda community, just like we want the majority of La Puente, the city of La Puente, to be whole, is important. So that's one reason why I cannot support map 4. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed.
Nay.
Motion fails, 2 ayes and 3 noes.
Adopt scenario 3.
Great, is there a second?
I'll second. I feel that the firm could have done a little better job when it came down to going online and voting for scenario 3. Anybody could have gone in there, voted multiple times. I think it should have been done where maybe you had to put an email address so we can verify that that was a vote and not by the same person doing it a couple of hundred times.
I think, somebody had mentioned earlier about Ms. Haan's map, map 7 that was submitted and was presented. She presented it, she did mention that she took map 3 to create map 7, and someone said, why couldn't we adjust the numbers to make map 7 work? Well, the original map 3 that was altered to make map 7 had the numbers to make it work, and that's why we leave it up to the demographers to do that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes with 3 ayes and 2 opposed, and Mr. Del Torre and Dr. Chang opposed.
Seat 1 in Belinda for the 2020 cycle, and sequence 4 in Hacienda Heights. I think it's a good thing that each cycle has at least a Hacienda Heights vote, and that'll achieve that, while ensuring that the North Park gets an extra seat.
I also agree that we shouldn't have Hacienda Heights consolidated all into one election where they only get to elect somebody every 4 years. I think we should have a mixture of Hacienda Heights and La Puente seats up every 2 years. And so that's why I also support C. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1 with opposition by Mr. Del Torre.
Next item is an update on a petition. At the May 6, 2020 meeting of the county committee, the committee voted to approve the district's petition to move to trustee areas. Then the committee discussed the map submitted by the district. Map 3 was selected and subsequently approved by the committee. During the committee's discussion on this petition, there was conflicting information presented regarding the sequencing of elections. Under the Education Code, which directs this process for school districts, the county committee does not select the sequencing of elections. The remaining 2 trustee areas in the approved maps, areas 1 and 3 are currently underrepresented. Therefore, those 2 areas will be up in 2020 and new members will be elected from those trustee areas. The school district plays no role in selecting the sequence of elections. There is no action for the county committee to take following their approval of the map on May 6th.
As Chairman Solomon stated, the education is clear and guides the process. Here, the county committee has taken care of its functions. It's taken care of the petition, it's voted on the petition, and it's voted on the map. There is no further action under the education code for this county committee to take at this time. More importantly, I wanted to be responsive to your questions from our last meeting, which is that pursuant to the education code, there is statutory requirement that incumbents finish their terms, and that is what you're seeing here. So there's no further action for this county committee to take at this time. You have done everything you need to pursuant to statutory code under the Ed Code. Thank you.
My name is David Huff. I'm a partner with Orbach, Suarez, and Henderson. I represent the Hacienda La Puente School District, and suffice to say, we strongly disagree with them. To the first point, that trustees, at-large elected trustees now that live in one of the appointed trustee areas now represent that trustee area, that is completely false. Nowhere is that proposition found in the education code, and I can prove it because if that trustee were to now next week move to a different trustee area, that trustee would still be serving out its incumbency, even though it now lives in a different trustee area. So that proposition is completely false. Where you will find the authority for the sequencing is actually not in the education code, it's in the election code at 10010. There it very clearly says that the governing board, that is the school district, determines sequencing. This committee's jurisdiction extends only to the method of election.
We're going to have to stop you there. Your minute has expired.
And that Ed Code section that we keep citing, if you all read it, and you should read it clearly, it protects the incumbent whose term is not up. It's not within our scope. And by him saying that, people are going to believe that we took an action. It's up to them people to set their own sequencing, that board, not us. Now trying to dictate the sequencing is outside the scope of our authority.
That is correct.
That is correct.
And them thanking us, I get the impression in my 41 years of being an elected official that they are thanking us for sequencing 1 and 3. And I'm saying that is not our call.
We need structural transformation. That's why Juntos Podemos and other community members led the fight for trustee areas. The CVRA is the way to begin this process, and you all agreed. However, you want to do it your way. You chose map 3 against community desires. You imposed the sequencing, and it looks like the district then is trying to manipulate to benefit one of the board members whose term is up.
That members of this board, this district, and this district lawyer have the audacity to try to violate the Ed Code and push an election in Area 4 to preserve the interests of one board member is unethical.
The community of Valinda, La Puente, and Hacienda Heights is asking you to do the right thing. Stop fighting what is right for their communities.